So greetings to you, greetings and welcome. I do apologize for 20 minutes late. That is because circumstances beyond my control. Nonetheless, welcome to Uncensored Guyana. I am Dr. Prasad. So what's trending right now? Let me start off by saying this. I talked about Charan Das before, and as all of you know, he is not somebody that's worth talking about. He's not worth talking about. It is amazing that people like that get views when they come online. And you will understand who are the people that are clicking on their video. Obviously, people who are haters of the PPP and conspiracy theorists against Irfan Ali. Those are the people who always want talking points to see how best they can further push their narrative in favor of Azriddin Mohammed or in favor of the critics of the Guyana government. They'll be the one to click on videos like the Charan Das videos. But since I'm on that, Mr. As, you said you're a lawyer. And lots of people are not lawyers. Yeah, rightly so. But I think that a large majority of the Guyanese public, they are literate. In legal terms, that means they can read, they can comprehend. So based on what the American ambassador said, Charan Das, she is not, or the Americans are not going to invest taxpayers' money to seek extradition and not see it through. In other words, they have to get their money's worth. They will see it through to the end. And even though the process is taking long, with postponement and adjournment, at the end of the day, America, the ambassador who spoke on behalf of America, the justice system, and the government of America, she said, and I quote, "I want to see justice for America and Guyanese citizens." That is interpreted to mean the Mohammeds must be extradited and tried and jailed for their crimes against the American citizens and the Guyanese citizens. Charan Das, that's what she meant. You don't need to be a lawyer to understand that, you jackass. So, Guyana is rich. Where is the money going? The focus around the world, everybody is sliming up to Guyana, even the so-called first world countries, second world countries, is kissing Guyana's ass. Let me use a nice word. Kissing Guyana's butt, worshiping Guyana's politicians. I mean, you see the royal treatment that our officials continue to get when they travel abroad. Never in the history of Guyana did the politicians of Guyana receive the honor, the respect, the love, the admiration like they are receiving now. Is it because of our beautiful president? Is it because of one man? everybody is enjoying the attention? Or is it because of the oil? If it is because of the oil, because we know we've had great presidents before, Chedi Jagan, Barajagdio, well, we still have Irfan Ali. But in the past, they weren't kissing Guyana's ass like now. So we can attribute that to the fact that Guyana is rich in oil. Forget the other non-oil sectors, because everybody is focusing on the oil. The other non-oil sectors were always there. Gold, timber, bauxite, water, always there. But yet, nobody notices Guyana. Nobody recognizes Guyana. If you say you're from Guyana, people just, they shun you. But now, everybody worships Guyanese, Guyana. They're crazy about Guyana. Nobody talks bad about Guyana except for the criminals who keeps putting that bad impression. So the thing is that I need to bring into perspective that I can't ignore the fact that people seem to think that I'm blind to the concerns of Guyanese in general, that no matter what, some issues I would never talk about. Well, I want you to understand today that nobody owns me. I've said many times, I am a Jaganite. I am loyal to the PPP. I'm not loyal to Ali or Jagder, whoever it is. I'm loyal to a party, an idea, an ideology. But if it seems like elements in that party aren't representing the tenets of that party, I'll call them out. Like I've had suspicions, or I have suspicions, that Mr. Nandalal might very well be helping the Bahamas. I talked about it, didn't I? So right now, I want Guyanese to understand I'm a part of the PPP just like you are. The People's Progressive Party is the only party in Guyana. We can't give attention to the others. They don't make any sense. So if all of us, if 70% or 80% of Guyanese shelter under or identify as members of the People's Progressive Party or voting bloc of the People's Progressive Party, then whatever affects that 80% affects me. If that 80% have concerns, I need to talk about it. I can't ignore it because I can risk losing constituents for the PPP. So while all the other persons who claim to worship the PPP or who comes online and talk in favor of the government or the PPP may ignore certain sentiments from the public, I wouldn't do that. Because I'm loyal to you, the Guyanese citizen. I'm loyal to the party, not the president or the vice president. Let me make it clear. Understood? So the question is asked, where is the money going? I said before that the People's Progressive Party needs to take care of its base. I understand, and I'm seeing infrastructure, construction, roads, pavements. I understand that. I also reviewed their, what's it called it? The activity they have right now going on about the oil sector and things like that. And I've listened to speeches. I've listened to speeches. I heard from the ExxonMobil president about discovering new blocks and investing in new blocks and billions and all that stuff. But the same thing I hear from everybody. The same rhetoric from Exxon, from this Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram, from President Ali, the same talking points. This is good for Guyana. This is going to translate in jobs. This is well for the people, securing future generations to come. We've been hearing that since 2020. Almost every conference they have that relates to oil and gas or development is the same thing. They're just repeating scripts. There's nothing new being said. Absolutely nothing. So while a large percentage of the public may dismiss it, they don't pay attention anymore. They don't tune into these things anymore. They're not interested. They don't want to hear. Because to them, we know Guyana is rich. To them, we know money is being made. We heard the budget. We listened to the presentation of the finance minister. We heard how much money is in the fund. We heard about how much money is budgeted for infrastructure and blah, 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 all the ministries. We heard all of that. But we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it translated in our daily lives. I'm not an advocate for cash grants. You will know that by now. I don't advocate for cash grants. I think cash grants is like social services. It encourages laziness. I believe it encourages laziness. So what am I proposing here? What am I saying? I'm saying that with all the free education that President Irfan Ali's government has introduced, with all the free health care and all these things that are free, there are lots of people who seem to believe that this is just a distraction from the fact that a very small percentage of the income is going towards reimbursing all of these areas that are given free. They have to be reimbursed. It's a small percentage, while a larger percent is going in places that are not announced, that nobody knows that this money is going in these projects. So the citizens now, the people who are supporters of the PPP, believe that, yeah, 100,000 a year cash grant once a year, free healthcare, free this, free that. Then what? The argument here is, forget the cash grant. What else is there? Free healthcare. For who? The elderly? Well, the elderly or the seniors, automatically they should have free healthcare, government or not, because the point is they would have worked their whole lives. They would have contributed in whatever way they could all their lives. All their lives. So now when they're in their 70s or their 80s and they start to experience life's natural cycle of discomfort, then society needs to compensate them for that, because they would have been a part of building the society and they would have given all their strength, all their health, all their experiences to build society. So now that they can't do it anymore, society should take care of them. That's the natural order of things. It should not be a special privilege that comes from a government. It's like your family. If you have your parents who struggled, as in real struggle, send you to school, make sure you get an education, then supported you throughout your first job until you get on your feet to pay off your school fees, even got you a house, give you a head start in life. Now those same parents are 70 and 80 years old, they can't generate the funds, their pension is not enough. Isn't it your responsibility to pitch in, to make up for the difference financially as a child? Of course. It's not for the government. It's for you as a sibling, as a child, to compensate for the sacrifices your parents made, especially if they made sacrifices. Because the cycle will continue with your children. That's how society stays connected and stays strong. You help those who helped you. Persons who will have worked for the government, they receive their pension and their compensation on their retirement because they have given their due, they've given their services, and during the act of giving their services, monies were deducted from their salaries. For 10, 15, 20, 40 years, monies were deducted every month from their salaries to go into a fund so they can get it back in their old age. It ain't free money from the government. Those people contributed that money. So either way, governments are not doing citizens favors. It's the citizens' money anyway. My thing is, that money is already there. That contributions is already there because people have paid it over time. It has been extracted from their salaries for years. So if you're taking out 10% of a person's salary and you have 100,000 people working in the system, that's 10% of 100,000 employees over 20 years, 30 years. You're talking billions and billions of dollars. And if some of them die before they can receive their pension, then what? Does it go to their children or grandchildren? Those are monies that has already been deposited. They ain't trying to get it now, it's already there. Has nothing to do with resources of the country, oil or gas. It has nothing to do with that. Now we're looking at benefits from the resources of people of the country that you live in. And since the world is focusing on the oil Guyana has, so are the citizens of Guyana. Now the foreigners are thinking in ways they can exploit the market. They can exploit the resources of Guyana to make their country better, or their lives better, or their business better. So they have to come and make investments. And from that investment, they give a percentage back to the Guyana government, by extension, the Guyanese people. How is that percentage being utilized? I listened to the ExxonMobil boss and the others. I'm not impressed. Every country, Exxon does what Exxon will do. Every country, these oil companies, whoever they do what they do best. They're business organizations. They go for a profit. The better deal they can secure is better for them. And if their governments can help them to pressure a country in giving them a better deal so their governments get more taxes or somebody in the government gets a kickback, they will do that. And we know America is a giant. So America can very well pressure any country to give ExxonMobil or whatever company the best oil deal, meaning Exxon has a larger profit margin. America has done it, they're capable of doing it, and many suspected that they have done that with Guyana. So from the little that Guyana is getting from this deal, it's still a lot because we could do a lot of stuff with it, and we're getting loans from foreign lenders based on the income we're getting from oil. Again, the question is, how is it not reflective in the lives of the people? How is it not? Before 2020, people were struggling every day with their business, with whatever projects they have, every day. 2026, they're still struggling. While they have access to more money circulating, and I mean more Guyana currency circulating, it doesn't mean that it is a sign that the country is doing better. It means that it's inflation. When inflation is going up, you have to print more money. You have to pump more money into the country. Then your currency becomes weaker. The American dollar keeps getting stronger. We have possible sanctions that is waving over our heads because of the sanctioned opposition leader. So many deals, so many things are tied into the budget, which is tied into foreign lenders. If Guyana has to experience a sanction right now, political, economic sanction right now, it is going to get very, very bad for the citizens of Guyana. Very bad. There are already loans that has to be repaid. I heard politicians talk about we don't want a situation like other countries where the curse of oil, Venezuela and all these other countries. These are the countries that we refer to. Most of them experience sanctions. It's not mismanagement of oil, it's sanctions. They can't sell their oil, and their populations can't consume it. If Guyana has to come to that point, what happens? We're not using the data of whatever UN report on poverty, 58%. I'm not using that because I saw the report. The report is confusing. It's not even for this time. It's since 2018 and it's coming up. But it's not reflective on this time. What is important is when I see Ashruddin Mohammed, the man who could very well be responsible for bringing Guyana down, when I see him going around the country, and now he's making sure that he gather Indo-Guyanese to speak with him. And you have Indo-Guyanese expressing disgust, expressing regrets, questions and doubts, and pointing a finger at the Ali regime about the oil wealth not being distributed and only a certain set of people getting rich and things like that. It is not good for the PPP. It is not good. Because Indians follow Indians. It's not the same with blacks. Blacks don't follow blacks, but Indians follow Indians. So I have to raise that issue. Why is it that Guyanese still feel that they're not a part of this economy? That so many years of milking the money from the oil, but yet it is not reflective in the average Guyanese. And remember, President Ali, you control 80% of the population. 80. And the sentiments that are coming out from that 80%. They feel marginalized. The nation is producing, but the wallets of the people, the purses that women walk around with every day to go to shop, their hands can't get lost in their bags. If they drop a pin in their bags, they can just push their hands and get it because there's nothing else there. There's no value in their purse. But they walk around with their pride just because of suppressing the need to be embarrassed. If Guyana is growing, the people should not be stagnant, should not be dwarfed. The economy cannot excel like a giant, but the people are receding in their status. It is an unfair distribution of wealth. Unfair. All these things that you see online about some minister started with some shabby wooden house, or somebody has started with this and look at them now. Propaganda or not, it affects the average person. If you think people are concerned about the Mohammeds, well, they're not. Guyanese are not obsessed with that. They know how they got it. Guyanese understand that the Mohammeds were not politicians. They used politics to protect them, to cover them from their crimes. They took advantage of it. And the average Guyanese know that any businessman would do that, especially if you have weak politicians to deal with. You bribe them, just like police officers. You bribe them to get them to turn a blind eye on your crimes. Businesses do that every country. Pablo Escobar, look how he controlled the parliament of that country with money. So human beings are weak to the currency of trade. So the average citizen of Guyana, they don't care. They want what the Mohammeds have. And if they see an avenue, to get it, they'll pursue it. They will pursue the avenue because they want to get rich like the Mohammeds. The point is, the Mohammeds entered politics after they would have robbed the system, corrupt the politicians, stole from the country, and they amassed their wealth. On the basis of protecting that wealth, they entered politics. It's a complete difference as to politicians who had nothing, can't even read, followed some political party, and that party got into power. And as a way to repay that person who turned a politician, they may appoint him as some director of some ministry and even a minister post. Then suddenly overnight, that politician becomes like the Mohammeds. That is what will concern people. That is what people would be disgusted by. Those images. Because they're asking themselves, hey man, I know this guy. He lived in my street. I know he used to run around with the PNC or run around with the PPP or run around with this one. But he was a slipper pusher. He rides a bicycle. The guy can't even read. And what? He's a minister and he's living in Bel Air Village. And look at that mansion. Oh, this is corruption, man. This is where the oil money is going. This is where the gold money is going. This is where the tax money is going. This is the drugs. The average citizen, that's the conclusion, that those are the sentiments they would have. That poor people entered politics and overnight, not 5 years or 10 years, literally in a few months, they went from a 1-bedroom shack to a 6 and 7 bedroom mansion. People will be affected by that. It doesn't matter who it is. Because they would attribute that. Now in this era, they're going to attribute that as money from the oil only circulating amongst the top brass of the political party. And the wider cross-section of Guyanese who actually voted for that party can't see anything. They ain't seeing. It concerns me because it's my constituents reaching out to me. They're reaching out to me. And they're bombarding me to say, why don't you talk about it? Why don't you talk about it? So it seems as though I know these things, but I ignore it because if I talk about it, it may seem like I'm talking against the PPP, like I turned against President Ali. No, man, you got to stop that shit. When I ignore it, I betray the people, the real, true loyalists to Chedi Jagan. I betray them when I ignore it. So I have to let the powers that be understands. Don't play stupid as if you don't know. Everybody is on social media. Everybody. You don't wait until Mohammeds come and repeat the sentiments of PPP supporters and then use it to say, you see, they're neglecting their own people. These are not things that are new. What the PNC are saying, what the Mohammeds are saying, it's nothing new. People have been sharing those concerns long before elections, but they still voted for the PPP. They didn't turn. They voted more. Why? Because they understand with all the alleged corruption, with all the alleged mismanagement, with all the alleged friends and family, Guyana has still benefited significantly more under Irfan Ali. So they're willing to risk another chance to President Ali instead of going back to the dark days of the PNC. So if Guyanese have risked to give President Ali another chance, we don't want to see ministers flaunting the country's wealth before their eyes. We see all these galas, these fancy functions, and these fancy dinners where ministers and women and all these special guests who never wore those things before are dressing in the latest suits, the latest this, and they're putting it on social media. You're offending the people who voted for you. You're throwing it in their face. Because in their mind, they're like, look at she. Look at this one. You don't want them to slip over. Local government elections is coming around. You don't want the people to slip over in disgust because they feel as though things aren't working for them. Billions. One second. There is a man who had a great impact on my life. My second father. Some of you who are from there, if you're from the Anna Katrina area, you would have known this gentleman, Mr. Lalta Mahathir. Lalta Mahathir. His wife Shirley Mahathir, also like a mother to me. They have two sons, Trevor and Kenny Mahathir. From there, we regularly go to the Satya Sai Baba Center in the 2nd Street of Anna Katrina, 2nd Street. Yeah. So you would know. He had a tremendous influence on my life as a young man, a kid. And because I was raised in that culture, regularly attending the services of Satya Sai Baba at the center there and doing the bhajans and conducting the services and conducting the song services. Yeah, I did all of that. I composed a few Baba songs. I was always in the front row because, Papa Lalta never make jokes. He's like, sit next to me, sit next to me. I always have to sit next to him. So he would tell me this. He said, you never let other people know your strength unless there's a test and you get the opportunity to demonstrate it. Then, based on the evidence of you demonstrating it, you give them things to talk about. But you see, you never tell them. Don't talk about it. Let them always assume what they want to assume. And then one time he said, if you are worth $1 billion, live as though you're worth 100. That's an Indian father telling me. He says, if you are worth $1 billion, live as though you are worth 100. To the public. But in your house, that's your castle. Nobody must know the value of your pocket. It's none of their business. Because when they know, Then is when they realize they have a need that you have to supply. It is being played out before my eyes every day. It has become a trend now that people just have to flaunt their wealth in public. Fake it and then you make it. They don't understand that when you're in politics, it's not the same as if you're living a social life or you're a celebrity or whatever it is. Like you're a sports person, you want to pull people into that profession. So you're like pushing to them, hey, come and join me. Look what I have. You're selling a Ponzi scheme, fly by night rich, come get rich quick. No, politics is about the sentiments of the people that you're targeting. If you are flaunting wealth in people's faces, you are turning them off, especially when their day-to-day lives is filled with misery, wantingness, worrying about paying their bills, worrying about the cost of food in the shops, which, in other words, in Guyana, does not reflect the average salary. And I'll share this. I'll share this. It concerned me. I'll share this. I heard the other day from a politician that people are earning in Guyana a minimum of 60 and 70,000 a month, and a public servant is getting, or police is getting around 130,000. When you take away the taxes from that, it goes beyond 100,000. What the fuck is that? What kind of a nonsense is that? And this is the PPP person told me this. You have an opposition leader who is a billionaire that is earning $2 million a month from a 16-seat majority in the parliament in the opposition side. 2 million a month. And his MPs might very well have around 500,000, 600,000 and above per month. The politicians that are in the House of the National Assembly are earning more than 500,000, half a million Guyana dollars, more than that. Each and every one of them. And when you look at what they're doing, they're there whenever the parliament has an event to talk about stuff. Could last 1 or 2 weeks in a 6 months period. The rest of the time, it's not a 9 to 5 job where they show up at the parliament every day, 5 days a week. No, it's not. But for that bullshit that they're doing, they're getting from 500,000 up, plus duty free, plus housing, plus you name the plus. They're getting all of that. While a Guyanese citizen, legally, as a matter of minimum wage, set by the government, is earning as low as 60,000 Guyana dollars a fucking month. This is like $300 a month. Tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I stand corrected. I was of the view because I've asked questions, I do research, I've talked to people, and my opinion was the minimum wage was around 150. That's the lowest. But I was made to understand no, it's 60,000, someplace 70,000. And the government's tariff is around 100,000, 20,000 as minimum wage. Ridiculous. So I can justify the sentiments of the people. Forget rent. Most Guyanese have their household, their own homes. Forget rent. But to buy basic items in the shop, basic stuff, not to rob and steal and shoplift, to go to the shop and buy basic item, groceries, to cook and eat every day, you might very well exceed 60,000 a month. Then how do you compensate for the rest? How do you make up for that rest? And these are people who have jobs. My issue here is not for the low lives who walk around stealing and looking for handouts. No, I'm talking about the people who have jobs, who took advantage of the education, who took advantage of the free colleges, and they have jobs. They wake up every day, they go to a fucking office. I'm talking about them. They can't make ends meet. So I issues with cash grant. Fuck the cash grant. All them free stuff. Fuck all that stuff. Raise the minimum wage. Make it illegal for people to abuse Guyanese citizens and pay them those shitty salaries they're giving them. If you can't raise the minimum wage, then do something to bring the fucking prices down, way down. So people can live. When they can spend money, they can still save. If they're getting 60,000, they can still save 20,000 because the groceries prices are reasonable. Something got to compensate. It must. Because people are seeing. The world is seeing that billions are earned from the oil. And they have all these other non-oil sector that are generating money to the country's treasury. Come on, man. We have an elections coming up. You don't want the people to put their sentiments to a criminal because he's repeating on his huge platform the things that you politicians in the Ali government should have known already. All right? Stop the arrogance with the ministers, man. Stop the fucking arrogance. Because the sentiments are correct. People should not go to politics to get rich. If you enter politics, it's because you have a heart to serve. And the servant is usually the one at the lowest bottom economically because they're serving. But if it's rubbed in people's places, politicians are walking around with big heavy chains, diamond bracelet, the latest suit, the latest this, and before they got into office, they were living like a bunch of lowlives, but suddenly they're gods. It will piss people off. I want the PPP to stay in office, to keep winning. But don't give the Mohammeds talking points. Don't give them things to say. Don't give them things to talk about. All these infrastructure, all these things, yeah, it's good, but you can't spend the rest of the existence of Guyana on infrastructure. Put systems in place so people can get their monies directly. I'm talking cash grant. I have to keep repeating this. If it means you have to cut or give subsidies to businesses so they could pay their employees more, or the government has to find some way to raise the salaries of people who work for the government, therein attracting more people to work for the government, somehow the monies from the oil needs to go to the people. Forget the cash grab. I'm not impressed. Nobody's impressed. Forget that. Even if it's 500,000 cash grants, forget it. Let the people have the money on a monthly basis on their salaries. On their salaries. Put the cash grant money there. If you budget, if the ministries get 100 million, 50 billion, then a large portion of that 50 billion should go towards improving the salary and the conditions of the people who work for the ministries. Not to keep building stuff. And that's another issue when it comes to building stuff. We had a lot of issues with the PNC government. Aren't we learning from that? Isn't there enough education for us to understand that people hate corruption? You see what they did to the PNC? 12 seats. Why? Corruption. People hate corruption. Aren't we learning from that? Raise the salaries across the board. Put systems in place so that the private sector cannot pay their people 60,000 a month and 70,000 a month. No, put laws in place. But if the politicians control the private sector, they wouldn't push for laws because it means that they have to pay their employees more. Understand this. Politicians did not vote for themselves. The People's Progressive Party is the most powerful party in the country, not because of Jagde or Ali, because of Guyanese. Guyanese made it so. Guyana has a small population. A small population. Please make the people's lives better. Make their lives more livable. The thing that is talked about the most is the prices in the shops. The prices in the shops. That is affecting people. Before I go, I heard of a serious accident of which I'll be investigating further after the show. I'll go and see what was the outcome there. But some relatives are involved. And I heard that there are some Guyanese who came over to Suriname yesterday for a function in Suriname. And the family, which consists of the father, mother, and a baby, a 9-month-old baby, something like that, suffered a fatal accident in Paramaribo. From based on what I've heard, it's very fatal. The child is in intensive care. I don't know the condition of the parents, but I'm going to find out. And so I'm not too au fait with exactly what's happening. After this show, I'm going to go down to the hospital and find out the state, the condition of the people there. Okay, so if you've heard about it, I don't know if you heard about it, but I was told I was sent some pictures, and the persons were calling me since last night, and I'll do what I can do. Okay, so I'll let you know. I'll give you an update on as to what the position is a bit later. But for now, I heard that a Guyanese family yesterday was involved in a fatal accident in Suriname on their way to Paramaribo to attend the function. To go back, they drove to come, and obviously they would have um, used the same means to go back. These are not Guyanese living in Suriname. These are Guyanese from Guyana, came over yesterday. All right, so I'll get more details on that. In the meantime, just project your sentiments and your positive energies so that they recover and is not as worse as I was told. But I'll share with you what the updates are on the other platforms. In the meantime, I'll see you again next time. Thanks for your attention. Goodbye.